Imagine an AI system uncovering more than 200 previously unknown bugs in real distributed software. Welcome to the Automated Daily AI News Edition, the podcast created by Generative AI. I'm Trend Teller, and today is August 14th, 2026. On today's show, a striking result in AI-driven bug hunting, a meaningful jump in GPU training efficiency, a busy week in the frontier model race, and a fresh reminder that shipping reliable agents may be harder than building impressive demos. This episode is brought to you by 11 Labs. 11 Labs lets you discover the future of AI audio with cutting-edge voice technology. Find the link in the episode notes. We'll start with software engineering, where one of the more interesting research stories comes from a system called Specula. It was tested on dozens of open-source distributed systems and reportedly found 249 bugs, with 207 of those described as new. That is a big number, especially in the world of concurrency and distributed software, where failures can be subtle and expensive. Researchers are still debating how solid the method is conceptually, because some of the system's notion of correctness is inferred from the same codebase it is checking. Even so, the practical result is hard to ignore. AI tools are starting to look genuinely useful for finding the kinds of systems bugs that humans often miss. On the infrastructure side, Lambda says one of AI's biggest inefficiencies is simply that giant training runs leave too much GPU capacity on the table. The company puts typical large-scale training at around 35 to 45% model flops utilization, then says its optimization framework pushed Llama 3.1 training above 60% on NVIDIA Blackwell systems. If that kind of gain proves repeatable, it matters a lot. Better MFU means faster training, lower effective cost, and less wasted compute at a time when access to GPUs is still one of the industry's tightest bottlenecks. The model race also kept moving quickly. Qwen released a new flagship open model aimed at coding, research, and longer-running agent tasks, reinforcing how competitive the open-weight ecosystem has become. DeepSeek rolled out V4 Pro with very aggressive API pricing, adding more pressure to the already intense price war in high-end inference. xAI launched Grok 4.6, and an early hands-on review suggests the improvement is not just raw capability, but speed and better collaboration during long tasks. Microsoft, meanwhile, previewed MAI. Thinking One, signaling it wants stronger in-house reasoning models for enterprise workloads. Put together, the pattern is clear. Vendors are fighting on quality, cost, and how well models hold up across multi-step work. There was also an important governance conversation at the A4 conference in Las Vegas. Geoffrey Hinton, Fei-Fei Li, and Andrew Ng all argued in different ways that AI should not be locked down completely, even as safety concerns around open-weight models grow. Ng emphasized the risk of a few companies becoming gatekeepers. Hinton acknowledged real danger in openness, but suggested the spread of open models may already be too far along to reverse. Fei-Fei Li took a middle position, arguing that open and closed approaches can coexist at different layers. This debate matters because it gets to one of the core policy questions in AI. Do you protect society more by restricting access or by keeping the ecosystem competitive and transparent? Two other stories this week focused on privacy and provenance. Google says it is making private AI inference more practical by adding its homomorphic encryption compiler, called HEI, to the private computing toolkit. The promise is simple and powerful, letting servers run inference on encrypted data without actually seeing the raw data. That could be especially relevant for healthcare, finance, and other regulated sectors. Separately, a detailed explainer on AI watermarking clarified that these systems do not act like visible labels. They work more like hidden statistical patterns and word choice, which means they can be useful, but they are probabilistic and can weaken after editing or rewriting. The broader takeaway is that privacy and provenance tools are improving, but neither should be treated as magic. On AI agents, the gap between a compelling demo and a dependable product is getting harder to ignore. CData tested whether Claude Code could build an enterprise-grade MCP server and found major reliability problems, including silent data loss, broken pagination, and weak error handling. That fits with a broader argument emerging across the industry. The real bottleneck is no longer getting agents to act, but making sure they can be evaluated, corrected, and trusted over time. Wes McKinney made a similar point from the software side, arguing that good agentic engineering is still human-led, with AI helping on implementation and review rather than taking full control. For enterprises, that may be the story that matters most. Reliable oversight is becoming more important than raw autonomy. There was also a useful reality check on AI and mathematics. Tim Gowers reflected on the recent excitement around models helping solve notable math and theoretical computer science problems, but argued that this should not be read as broad superhuman ability across all of mathematics. His point is that LLMs may be particularly good when a problem rewards broad knowledge and fast search through many standard ideas. The harder test will be whether they can produce proofs that feel genuinely surprising, elegant, and difficult to arrive at by brute force exploration. In other words, capability headlines are getting stronger, but they still need interpretation. And finally, on the business side, Lovable reportedly raised fresh funding at a $13.3 billion valuation. The startup focuses on turning plain language prompts into software and web apps, and its rapid rise says a lot about where investor enthusiasm still is. Even in a crowded market, AI coding remains one of the hottest commercial bets around. That does not guarantee long-term winners, but it does show that investors still believe software creation is one of the biggest categories AI could reshape. Thanks to our sponsor, Stock MVP. Stock MVP helps you invest like the pros using data-driven insights. Find the link in the episode notes. That's it for today. Thanks for listening to the Automated Daily AI News Edition. I'm Trend Teller, and we'll be back with more tomorrow. Links to all stories can be found in the episode notes.